So with the recent news of the 2023 Chevy Bolt pricing, I think a lot of people in the EV community, as well as your average consumer, is taking a hard look at the Chevy Bolt because of its extreme value. And when I say extreme value, this is relative because this makes the 23 Chevy Bolt the cheapest brand new EV you can buy on the market here in the United States. Now, this does not include any state tax incentives that you may qualify for depending on where you live here in the US, because as you know, the Chevy Bolt no longer qualifies for the $7,500 federal tax credit. So depending on where you live, you can get an extra additional tax rebate or reduction here on the brand new Chevy Bolt under the new 2023 pricing. Now, I realize not every state offers an EV tax incentive. However, here in the state of Illinois, starting July 1st, you can purchase a new or used EV and receive a $4,000 rebate. Now, this is limited to one per social security number and one per VIN number. So once a VIN number is used under this tax credit, the vehicle no longer qualifies for the state incentive. So with these numbers in mind, that means in the state of Illinois, you can purchase a brand new Bolt under this new pricing for $22,595, including destination. So with this information in mind, I want to take this 2022 Chevy Bolt 2LT and show you guys why I think it's an extremely good value, especially here in the Illinois after July 1st. Now, unfortunately, I can't test drive it, show you guys how it drives or anything, because it is still on the stop sale for the battery recall. Now, and that brings up an interesting topic that a lot of people may be put off by the Chevy Bolt due to this recent recall. Now, some might view this as a PR stunt by GM because they're unsure if this is actually profitable for General Motors at this price point. Now, I can't answer that question, but GM has promised that they will ramp up production and produce more Bolts this model year than they have in any other model year. So with all this information in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at this 2022 Bolt and see what you get for the money. So to better understand what value the Bolt provides, I want to give you a very quick walk around of this 2022 Bolt 2LT. Now, this is going to be the upper trim level of the regular Bolt EV. Again, this is not the EUV, which is the slightly larger, slightly roomier one and slightly more expensive one that offers a few features that the EV does not. So all Bolts come standard with LED headlamps up front, along with the dynamic turn signals and daytime running lights. The 2LT offers you these 17-inch upgraded wheels over the stock wheels. You also get the cameras for the surround vision system in the mirrors in the front of the vehicle here, just below the bow tie. Now, coming around to the back of the vehicle, all Bolts have LED tail lamps, which are actually down here. These are the brake lights along with the turn signals, and the running lights are up in the regular hatch area. Now, a lot of people do not like this design cue. Personally, I'm kind of indifferent about it, but I do like the fact that they are all LEDs. And below there, we have a center mounted reverse light with incandescent bulbs, unfortunately. So once again, I love this color on the Bolt. It's kind of a goldish silver, to be honest. So let me know what you guys think of this 2022 refresh on the Bolts. I know some people aren't a fan of this facelift, but personally, I think it looks much better than the older design of the Bolts. So take a look at the window sticker before we dive into the interior. This is, again, a 2LT with the black leather interior. So here is all the standard equipment on the 2LT. And this particular one has two optional packages, and that is the infotainment package for $595 and adaptive cruise control for $375. That is something that is only available on the 2LT EVs, is the adaptive cruise control. So this brings the total price for this model year to $36,165. And that is something we will discuss later in this video, is that there's a huge price drop for the 2023 model years. Now, I'm unsure if they are also going to extend the price drop to these leftover brand new 2022 models, since they are kind of obsolete in terms of the pricing structure now. Obviously, they are going to be available sooner than the 2023s, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough to sell these, given the new pricing of the 2023 models. So we have some nice leather stitching here on the armrest. Of course, we have power, windows, mirrors, locks, all standard equipment on all Bolts. The Bose system, again, part of the optional package on the 2LT. So we have power driver seat with the black leather interior. They did a heavy refresh again for 2022. Which definitely upgraded the seats and a lot of the other components that were complaints on the older generation Bolts. Of course, we have our leather wrap steering wheel with a flat bottom design. Of course, this one does have the adaptive cruise control, which is controlled over here on the steering wheel. You do have your paddle shifter for the regen control. Of course, your fully digital display cluster, as well as the 10.2-inch HD navigation system. Of course, you do have your hard button controls for the climate system here. We do have heated seats. No ventilated seats are available on the regular EV. Single zone automatic climate control, heated steering wheel. Wireless charging is part of that optional package here on the 2LT, the infotainment package. Lane keeping assist, your drive mode buttons up here. course, you do have push button controls for the transmission, if you will. But overall, the cabin space is very nice here in the Bolts. So now that you have an understanding of what you kind of get with the Bolt and the 2LT in particular, let's go ahead and dive into the news that broke just after I posted the last video here on the channel of the 23 model year Bolts. So GM announced a $5,900 MSRP reduction on both trims of the EV and a $6,300 reduction in the Bolt EUVs. So that makes the base MSRP, including destination charge, $26,595 for the 1LT EV and $29,795 for a 2LT. So given that the car that we're sitting in right now has a couple additional options, I am guessing that the MSRP on this model is going to be just over $30,000, including destination. So to me, what you're getting here for $30,000 is pretty incredible, and that does not include the state tax incentives like I mentioned earlier in this video. So just use $30,500 as an example and a guesstimate of the MSRP on this vehicle for the next model year, minus the $4,000 Illinois state rebate. That brings this car down to $26,500. Now $26,500 is actually a similar price that you were able to get a Chevy Bolt in the past. Now if you remember, for the 2019, 2020, and even I think some 2021 model years, Chevy offered $12,000 to $15,000 off MSRP on these Bolt, which brought down the base models into the low $20,000 range and these loaded trims into the mid and upper $20,000 range. And it's nice to see that you can now get these Bolts again for that price point. So given that the Bolt runs on kind of an older architecture and a 400 volt one at that, it has some limitations in terms of fast charging capabilities. Now the onboard level 2 charger for the Bolt is actually pretty good at 11.5 kilowatts. That beats out the Niro EV, the Kona EV, the Nissan Leaf. Those all have lesser onboard chargers than here in the Bolt, so that should be a benefit for 240 volt charging here in the Chevy Bolt. Now the real drawback in many owners' eyes is the fact that the level 3 charging or the DC fast charging here in the Bolt tops out about 55 kilowatts. Now a lot of the other EVs that I just mentioned can push 70, 80, 90 kilowatts in terms of DC fast charging. So that's definitely an impact if you plan on road tripping your Chevy Bolt, is that the DC fast charge capabilities are a little bit slower here in this car than some of the other competition. So the big question is whether or not GM can keep the production line running. Now they have been heavily impacted by the chip and part shortages over the last few years. So it'll be interesting to see if they can fulfill their claim of producing more Bolt EVs this model year than they have in any other model year in the past. And given the fact that GM has the Equinox, Blazer, and Silverado EVs coming sometime in the 2023 calendar year, it'll be interesting to see if people want to jump on the Bolt EVs or wait for those next generation EVs from General Motors. It'll just be interesting to see how this plays out. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Unfortunately, I don't have the full pricing information of all the option packages and everything like that. It was a little bit interesting how this pricing news launched, as the press kind of got a hold of it before dealers have, and the dealerships still don't have a lot of news on it other than what's out there in the press. If you have any questions or comments on it, please leave them all in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer them. I read every single comment. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing and checking out some of the other content on the channel. I made a video just the other day of the 2023 new updates to the Bolt EV and EUV. So if you want to check that out, that has a little bit of extra news in it as well. And let me know what your ownership experience has been with the Bolt, if you have owned one, or whether or not you think it's a good first-time EV. And let me know what you guys think of a first-time owner like myself buying a Bolt EV and showing you how my experience is with one. I think that would be a very interesting concept. Let me know what you guys think of it. So with all that being said, we'll see you guys in the next one.